If you're one of the many people in the world who suffers from frequent panic attacks, it might feel impossible to stop them. Fortunately, there are things you can do to help prevent a panic attack in its tracks. Here are some simple strategies to help you quickly end a panic attack and get on with your day. Breathe. When you start to feel your chest tighten and your heart pound, begin to take slow, deep breaths. When your brain signals to your body that it needs to panic, your breathing automatically becomes more rapid and shallow, which starts to increase your panic. Taking slow, deep breaths helps to counter the physiological response to anxiety and fear. Use essential oils. Scent has a profound effect on your emotions. Breathing in the aroma of certain plants like lavender and chamomile can have a calming effect on your mind. When you combine deep breathing with your sense of smell, you can quickly stop a panic attack. To ward off panic attacks, keep a spray bottle of chamomile or lavender on hand to mist the air or a pillow. Focus on an object. In this tutorial, I'm going to share with you the 4 steps you can take to end a panic attack immediately. Too many people experience frequent panic attacks and end up living their lives in fear and avoiding situations that frighten them. Fortunately, you can learn how to end panic attacks in as little as 3 minutes. Here are 4 steps you can take to stop a panic attack immediately. Step number 1. Relax. Try to calm yourself by taking slow, deep, complete breaths. Try to remember that you are only having a panic attack and that nothing more serious is happening. Continue to relax by taking slow, deep, and complete breaths. Doing this will help to relax your body, which is the first step for reversing the release of adrenaline, which is what starts a panic attack. Step number 2. Stop negative thoughts. Stop the negative thoughts that are taking over by shouting "stop" inside your head. This helps to disrupt the emergency message that your brain is sending to your adrenal glands. Often, when you are suffering from a panic attack, you will fall into an endless loop of repeating the same negative thoughts over and over again. Disrupting this infinite loop provides you with the opportunity to replace these negative messages with more positive and calming ones. Step number 3. Use coping statements. Use a positive statement that is at least as strong as the negative thoughts that you are experiencing. You want to choose a statement that addresses the negative thoughts. Brainstorm the kind of fearful thoughts that are bringing on your panic attacks, and make a list of coping statements that you can look at when you need to think of a positive coping statement. For example, if you think you are having a heart attack, which is common in the middle of a panic attack, you can try telling yourself that you are only experiencing a panic attack, and if I just relax, it will be over. Step number 4. Accept your feelings. It is imperative that you accept your feelings, as minimizing the experience will only serve to perpetuate it. Start by identifying the emotion that you are feeling and determine the reason why you feel it. Then, validate the feeling as well as the basis for feeling it. Fear is a positive emotion that reminds us to take care of ourselves. Listen to your feelings, take care of yourself, and keep your feelings in proportion to the situation. Follow these 4 steps when you are experiencing an anxiety attack, and you will be able to stop it immediately. In this presentation, I'm going to provide you with 5 common signs that you're experiencing an anxiety attack. If you've never experienced a significant panic attack before, you may be skeptical about the condition, what causes it, and its impact on the mental and physical well-being of those affected by them. If you experience an anxiety attack, you may confuse it with another condition, like a heart attack or stroke. It is crucial to learn the signs of an attack if you want to learn how to treat them. Here are 5 common symptoms that you're experiencing a panic attack. Difficulty breathing. One of the main signs that you might be experiencing a panic attack if you have difficulty breathing. This has a lot to do with the increase in your heart rate during a panic attack and can lead to significant chest pain and a more intense panic attack if not treated quickly. To combat this, you have to focus on taking slow, deep breaths. Pain or tightness in your chest. One of the most notable signs of a heart attack is chest pain and tightness. However, this isn't always an indication that you're having a heart attack. Due to the quick and shallow breaths that you tend to take during a panic attack, it can feel like a general tightness and chest pain. Unless you have already been diagnosed with a significant heart condition, chances are the pain in your chest is a result of a panic attack. Needing to avoid people or places. If you have a panic disorder and have experienced panic attacks in the past, you might be hesitant to spend time with people or in places where you've had previous attacks. Anticipatory anxiety, which is a part of a more considerable panic disorder, can affect the way you look at people, places, and things that are associated with previous panic attacks. Meditating regularly can help you overcome this anticipatory anxiety. Nausea, sweating, and lightheadedness. In addition to difficulty breathing and chest pain, other significant signs of a panic attack include sweating, nausea, and lightheadedness. Taking rapid and shallow breaths can intensify these symptoms and even lead to the emergence of new ones. To combat these symptoms, it is best to sit down and take slow, deep breaths. Agoraphobia. In extreme cases of a panic disorder, agoraphobia can emerge. Agoraphobia involves a paralyzing fear of being in public spaces and interacting with strangers, and often arises from panic attacks and panic disorders. This can leave you unable to visit places where people are present, or leave you fearful of leaving your home. For those who have never experienced a panic attack before, the symptoms are often confused with other medical conditions. If you experience any of the above symptoms, it could mean that you are dealing with a panic disorder. In this tutorial, I'm going to provide you with 6 steps for overcoming anxiety. Daily stressors like deadlines and traffic jams are enough to cause anyone to feel anxious from time to time. If you find that this anxiety is starting to affect your life, then you might be suffering from clinical anxiety. If you are suffering from prolonged anxiety, here are 6 steps you can take to help you overcome anxiety. Step number 1. Recognize what triggers your anxiety. Your anxiety may stem from a fear of traveling, meeting new people, talking with your boss, worrying about the future, or any number of things. Start to keep a diary and record symptoms, situations, and thoughts that make you feel anxious. Step number 2. Analyze your thoughts when you're anxious. You'll want to try to identify specific thought distortions. Cognitive therapy often recognizes anxiety as a result of biased thinking, including mind reading. He thinks I'm a loser. Fortune telling. Something bad will happen. Personalizing. She's yawning because I'm boring. Catastrophic thinking. It would be terrible if. These kinds of thoughts are likely to reflect your perception of a threat and the belief that you need to control things around you. Step number 3. Challenge your negative thinking. There are always various ways to view things. Carefully look at the evidence for and against the negative thought. Challenge these negative thoughts. Step back and ask yourself, what kind of advice would I give a friend? Step number 4. Practice your fear. Take some time to identify some of the situations that are causing you anxiety. Step back from the situation that is causing you to become anxious and visualize in detail you facing the fear and getting through it. Then start to gradually practice doing something that you fear to help you realize that your worries are generally worse than the reality. Step number 5. Be willing to be anxious. If you want to overcome anxiety, you have to be willing to be anxious. If you aren't ready to go through the process of being worried, then you will never be able to get past your anxiety. Step number 6. Accept uncertainty and imperfection. To make progress, you have to understand that you don't always have to be perfect. You don't need to know how to do something for sure to do it. It is always better to do it than to spend time worrying about it. You don't have to let anxiety rule your life. Take these 6 steps to free your mind from its anxious thoughts and get on with your life. In this presentation, I'm going to share with you the 6 signs that indicate you might have an anxiety disorder. Everyone deals with anxiety from time to time. However, for some people, constant worry starts to take over their lives. It's not easy to tell if your common anxiety has turned into a disorder. Here are 6 signs that indicate that you might have an anxiety disorder. Worrying excessively. Worrying too much about everyday things, both large and small, is a hallmark of generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, the broadest kind of anxiety disorder. If you have persistent anxious thoughts every day for 6 months or more, it could indicate you suffer from GAD. Sleep issues. If you have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep on a regular basis, it could mean that you are suffering from an anxiety disorder. While this isn't unusual to find yourself lying awake, worrying about specific problems or nothing in particular, it could be a sign of GAD. Another clue that it might be an anxiety disorder is if you wake up feeling wired and you're unable to calm yourself down. Crippled by irrational fears. If your anxiety is attached to a specific situation or thing, like flying or crowds, and that fear becomes disruptive and overwhelming, it is a sign of a phobia, which is a kind of anxiety disorder. Although phobias can be crippling, they're not always obvious. Muscle tension. If you experience near constant muscle tension, this often accompanies many anxiety disorders. It can be so pervasive and persistent that people who live with it for a while often stop noticing it after a time. Regular exercise can help keep muscle tension under control, but cause a flare-up if their exercise routine is disrupted. Chronic indigestion. While anxiety might start in the mind, it can also manifest itself in the body and result in physical symptoms like irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, a condition characterized by bloating, gas, stomach cramps, and diarrhea. While IBS isn't always related to anxiety, it often occurs together and can make each other worse. Perfectionism. The obsessive and finicky mindset, known as perfectionism, goes hand in hand with anxiety disorder. If you are always judging yourself or have a lot of anticipatory anxiety about making mistakes, then you probably have an anxiety disorder. If you exhibit any of these conditions, it could mean that you are suffering from an anxiety disorder. The good news is that many of these symptoms can be managed through simple strategies that can help you get back control of your life.